your ass whack, yeah, shorty open up her ass, tattoos on the sand, say it's wet inside, it's going inside, but the rain I drive, it's really real, I still get my soldier up when I dab off the head, first straight into the industry, guns up, so if I die, they gon' remember me, ill, nah, no, motherfucking gang, entertain you motherfuckers, not while we can, we are here for a reason, here for a purpose, this is what's on. It's not no motherfucking game. Entertain you motherfuckers, not how you play. We are here for a reason, here for a purpose. This is what's on. It's watch like a TV show. Let the DE flow. Oh no, open up another notch. Gotta throw away block, cause a throwaway spot. Burn it down by another if it's fresh by the cops. Not to worry, come with hurry if you need that cold or hot. Tornado blow. Got a way I twist through the block. Yep. I'm the dude that you heard about. Then the raw niggas by the way I hang rappers out. Never out, get it too fast, too furious, too worried. All y'all should know I'm serious, period. In the discussion like tight chicks on fat people, L Ray be bustin', L Ray be bustin'. It's like we in the Indy 500, won't stop till I'm number one on Fortune 500. Overlap you when I'm coming, bitch smack you for nothing. I bitch smack you for something. Nah, no, motherfucking gang, entertain you motherfuckers, not why we can. We are here for a reason, here for a purpose. This is what's on. It's not no motherfucking gang, entertain you motherfuckers, not why we can. We are here for a reason, here for a purpose. This is what's on. It's purpose. No. Intense. Nigga, what you thought? Motherfucker, you ain't know. I'm the man with the plan, just in case you didn't know. I ain't in the baking cookies, but I'm all about that dough. I cook, I sold for wrestling. I can always get some cold. Don't be mad, cause I'm hot, like I'm fresh up off the stove. Fresh up off the stove. I'm fresh up off the stove. Go see. Nigga, we ain't playing, we up put your ass to sleep, nigga, get that work, nigga, in the truck, nigga, we get them in, we get them out, nigga, what it is, nigga, what it be like, I'm from the hood, nigga, I'm the real street time, I can get you bumped off, I can get you knocked off, really myself, pussy, nigga, I am not so thug, nigga, what a real drug dealer, you catch a shot, better rearrange your mug, standing in the trap with a fist full of stones. Money in my pocket, I hit in my block alone. Hurry up and come and get them. Getting cool so the bass, and I'm getting up on my money. I'm putting on my mask, getting addicted in your nose. Nigga cool, and I'm on blast. I'm rolling up on my money. I'm rolling up on my cash. I'm serious about my paper. I'm chasing down the paper. You bring it with my money, then I pay your potato. Put money in tomato, make a winner off tomato. You see me get potato, better lay it on the table. Bitch, I'm a street nigga, yeah, street nigga. We ain't playing, we'll put your ass to sleep, nigga, get that work, nigga. nigga. We get them in, we get them out, nigga. I'm a shit, a dope boy, you a hot guy. A block on the stove, that's chicken hot flash. Cookies in the jar, I ain't talking chocolate chip. Cookies for the hard quarters, for the water vessel. From that ain't a girl who I got the rock with it. Real street niggas, what up, Quad City? What up, Quintus? Okay, it's outside. You want your dick sucker, you can get some off wild. Chill, you better watch what you say. I tell us boy, but you can shot when you can. Hey, go on with me, but you don't do it to me. I'm street certified, so don't Google me. Street nigga, we ain't playing, we don't put your ass to sleep, nigga. Get that work, nigga. Get that truck, nigga. We get them in, we get them out, nigga. I'm a street nigga, nigga. He a street nigga. We ain't playing, we don't put your ass to sleep, nigga. Get that work, nigga. Get that truck, nigga. We get them in, we get them out, nigga. Through the D-boys, real D-boys, real D-boys, not phony D-boys. Look at my wrist, boy. Look at my feet, boy. I make you think you can be with me, boy. Posted and chill out at my D-boys thing. Sitting on my D-boy chain. After my D-boy thing. I even got a mystery. Niggas feel like live. Plenty of artillery with real red days. Straight up with the deadly haters. The headline, the papers, crack that, crack for the paper, great big space, challenge the table, with a slingshot for the paper. Professionals, it's like streets come second nature. We took your lifetime to build, take me as factory ratio. Still looking like 100,000. Fresh out the project house, fuck making it rain, don't make money foul. 9/11, twin cam purple, two car things, twin cans make it up like it was leaping hurdles. I be in public with my gun and come to murder. After that, cats just keep disappearing in the circle. You don't want problems, just pay it in. This is bitch, and I told you, motherfuckers, we won't be boys. Real D-boys, not fake D-boys. Look at my wrist, boy. Look at my feet, boy. I make you think you can be. You know what I'm saying? Anytime these shorties for me back in 07, you know, I done ran those shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and of course, we got these magazines, you know what I'm saying? That's right, you know, none other King heads, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? This issue happens to be the promo issue for the intense heat energy drink. It's right there. The shit is right here. And at times, you know, the variety of flavors. So we also have to so you know, the intention is you know what I'm saying? We also gonna have different flavors, you know what I'm saying? It's right there, you know what I'm saying? Nice little article, you know what I'm saying? And they, you know what I'm saying? And DJ Cocaine, you know what I'm saying? That real talk out of Pennsylvania with every ministry coming down those streets everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? With trick, how we get. You know what I'm saying? It's trick. That's the manager. Three, big body, soul, mochi. That's Twan right there. That's Bouvier right there. You know what I'm saying? We was down in Club Unity when we shot this. You know what I'm saying? This is me and Bigger Ranking. You know what I'm saying? I was down at the SEA Award. 6th annual SEA Awards, you know what I'm saying? That was down in Tulsa, Mississippi. You know, at North Strike Hotel and Casino. You know, we had a real nice time. You know, we was out there with Trick, you know, Soul and Black City. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful thing. I bumped into Bigger Ranking, which I had already previously met Bigger, you know what I'm saying? He first recorded me on a mixtape too, I'm still ready to get on that. Just tell you about when I actually met Bigger, You can see right here, me right here. You know what I'm saying? You got shout out resources, shout out to Kidnapper Music, you know what I'm saying? And Kid Wonder and myself, reality check. I did that thing in K6, thing with a little logo on it, you know what I'm saying? It was like a good review thing. Picture of me right here, the Grand Rapids Hip Hop Awards, you know what I'm saying? Nice mural right there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out, you know what I'm saying? And, but they don't even have that for us. You know, you want to add the street ad for the year, the street ad for my child, the street nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's a shot of some real street niggas in a club shot. You know what I'm saying? Big body me and my other brother, Mind Changer, aka Jilla Jones. You know what it is. Yeah, man, we just need the right, market. You know, speak for myself. You know, it's just undeniable. Everybody hating on me. I'm officially making heat responsible for all the internet marketing and all that stuff, getting stuff to people, you know what I'm saying? That's where my weak strategy was. And you gonna make sure I hear understand that. All right. You know what I'm saying?
Real hard with me. I was playing basketball. That was my first love. Okay. All right. I had bought me a little beat machine. I had it in the garage right then. At 15, 13, I was going in. Okay. I couldn't buy no beats from Miko. Miko was on the studio here.
Okay.
I couldn't get no beats, so I bought me a beat machine.
So you doing music?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We got Anthony Moore here. Anthony Moore. This is the building from HHEAT magazine. Anthony.
Hip hop elevator van stuff.
There you go. What was you doing when you was 15, Anthony, man? What was you doing?
I was going to school, making good grades. There you go.
Somebody ain't telling the truth now. Everybody wasn't doing good.
I wasn't. I was doing time.
Yeah. You said that?
I was doing time.
Yeah, I was.
I told the truth.
Work furlough.
Okay. I was doing time. Wasn't no work furlough back then.
But you was in Maxie's Boys.
Maxie Boys training camp and the oldest training camp.
Maximum security.
Maximum security. The maximum of the maximum.
Yeah, I know we was going all the way wrong like that.
I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, not down like animals. No, Anthony Moore's so good. Break down the acronyms for your magazine.
Magazine is HHEAT, Hip Hop Elevator Van Start. You know, magazines.
Anthony Moore's here, man. Glad to have you in the building. Great story, man. You've been in prison before.
Yeah.
How much time you did?
13 years.
And you got out and you started your own business.
Now, actually, my wife started the business before I even got out.
Okay.
So my book was out before I even came home from prison. Life and Love, The Ultimate Sacrifice.
Life and Love, The Ultimate Sacrifice.
Yeah. Best-selling
wow,
book.
That's real right there. Yeah. Wow. How can we get the book, man?
Well, you can get it at any bookstore. If they don't have it, you know, Life and Love, The Ultimate Sacrifice by Anthony Moore. They can order it because if they don't have it, just ask the people at the bookstore. Any major bookstore, it got the ISBN number, everything legit. So just go to any bookstore.
Tell me a little bit about the book. Tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, the book is Life and Love, The Ultimate Sacrifice. I received 30 to 60 years in prison when I was 16 years old. So, you know, going to a law library and, you know, getting my own paperwork together, I ended up getting an appeal bond in 2002. So I was out for 7 months in 2002, you know, and I ended up getting my time reduced.
Right.
But I would have stayed out, but so happened I ended up getting stopped by the police on the way to Grand Rapids, and they caught me with 7 pounds of marijuana and a pistol. So I ended up back in prison before I even got before my time was reduced. So I was in prison. I was back in the county fighting that case when they reduced my time from 30 to 60 to me coming home from 15. I had 15 to 6 to 15 years for 2 consecutive cases. So they broke it down like that, and I was automatically up for parole. That's why I had got the appeal bond. I wasn't never gonna get locked up, but you know.
I just got a real quick question, man. In that area, you're not gonna be able to stay on track here, but just in that area right there, where you said that you got caught with marijuana and a pistol on your way to Grand Rapids or what have you. Now you said at that time you was on parole. On parole is what they call it, but what was that?
Well, no, I wasn't on parole. I was on a court supervision because I was out on appeal bond.
Oh, he's out on a bond. Okay, so if I can ask you, man, and you don't have to answer the question.
I'm gonna answer whatever.
But what was it that had you to where if you was out on a bond and was facing that many years in prison that would make you take the risk or want to go down the road to have marijuana and a gun in your car? I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you take the risk of getting stopped like that. So what would make you do that, bro?
Well, it's something that's what this book, Life and Love, The Ultimate Sacrifice, is about. This book is about the 7 months when I had came home. So you learn exactly what happened that led to that situation. But when I came home, I had this vision. I was already, I created HHEAT in prison for the Factor newspaper in Muskegon. So I was an MCF and I was the editor of the Factor newspaper.
Okay.
And so we started HHEATing, doing all that. And while I'm in there, I'm, getting my life together. I'm rehabilitating myself with my comrades. And greetings, comrades. Welcome to Real Fathers Association Day 2 Kwanzaa celebration. We in the lab. Gonna push a game of chess. We got Harris Bay over here chilling. Over here, and we're going to build. Stay tuned.
Yeah, but I be sitting over here, man. I tell my wife all the time that all the great people in the Black community, every Black historian that really made a powerful impact amongst the impoverished, poor, Asiatics, they all have been ridiculed. They all were put in prison. You know what I mean? They all had some type of vice that they let control them at some point. But they all came out the wilderness. That's what I'm trying to get at. They all came out the wilderness. It wasn't nobody who always brushed their teeth every day, always went to school every day, always did what their mama told them to do, always did what their dad told them. There wasn't nobody like that that ever fought. Impoverished Blacks to a conscious state.
Indeed. Now, what I want to play also is the State of the Black Union 2017 video. We're going to listen to some of these topics and showing their own.
One in 13 African Americans are voting.
That's the real stuff, though. But we do make up 60% of the population, but we only 30% of the whole world, of this whole country.
Right. Right. But that's the point of laws. Laws that keep you in an economic situation that's conducive to someone else's generational wealth and your generational power. If you break, it's like keys, like certain keys that get you out. You understand what I'm saying? It's a law. A law in the Black community is go to school, get good grades, go to college, play sports, get a job.
American dream. Right. Well, that's the key to generational poverty. In our community, we consider that, well, you got a good job, you got that good credit, you got that new car.
That's generational genocide.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly. So, like Dr. Claude Anderson was saying, there's 3 levels of economics. Either you own a business, you working for a business where it's 4. I would say, he said 3 because he put some of them together, but I say 4. If you own a business, you working for a business, you getting assistance, or you commit crime. So he said, if you don't own a business, you got a job. If you don't got a job, you want some kind of assistance. You not on kind of assistance, you commit crime. Ain't no difference. I don't care who you is.
It's as soon as they all of them are going to
So, you know, we're not encouraged to the highest level of our economic as a man. If the first thing you should not think about is owning a business. Even if you got a job, even if you own a system. See, we actually have a level, people in our community just say, get a good job. We get education to work for somebody else. We don't educate ourselves in order to empower ourselves and generations beyond us.
And that's something that I not only, I can't blame the generation before me. I can't blame my mother and father for not being educated. But because I am educated, I can say what my mother and father did and told me was wrong. It was wrong as far as to develop a society of people within a society that we need more than anything. I'm with you with the separate but equal. If it had stayed separate but equal, we wouldn't have these problems today. We would be a real threat instead of real threat. Right. So that's what's going on today. The black man ain't never a threat.
See, we beg this for a seat. Instead of we had to see that table. You know what I'm saying? We had our own more men than we have now as far as economic structure.
They invited us to the table.
Exactly.
Once you build economic structure, they're gonna invite you to the table.
Exactly. Every other community did that for us. So they had a strategy to actually include. We don't want our own black schools. We want to go to your school. We don't want our own TV station. We want shows on your TV station. We don't want our own food. We want to be able to shop with y'all. Because we already had, you know what I'm saying? Separate now, they can afford in order to balance out the legalities maybe of certain situations that made it more profitable for white communities than black communities. Maybe the food was a little higher, maybe. You know what I'm saying? At the black stores and the white stores. But when you couldn't go there anyway, it didn't matter.
And anyway, and as a nation, like you said, as a nation, as a people as a whole, it's gonna be that way anyway. It may be, we may have Arabs over here, Indians over here, we may have Europeans from over here, and Cubans over here, and Asiatics from these northern shores over here.
Right.
And we all may be sovereign inside the country. But what I go get my beans for, he might not can't get his beans for the same day I get mine.
Right.
We deal with that anyway. So that's why we try to grow and we try to do everything we can do with inside our community, with inside our own constitution. And so we're gonna have to need this from other countries and other sovereign nations. Right. And become an ally.
You can apply that level of self-determination program individuals go back and forth and talk about before. You know, as an individual, don't you get united, you know, within yourself. Ability to produce or we consume. When you create this in your own, like you were saying, I love. For me, it ain't about love. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's about progress
Thank you for
and
this.
success. It's like a job. You know, a company. If your father, who the founder of this company, you know, was bringing the company down, and we had to replace it. It's just like me. I'm hurting my family. I'm hurting my family. I'm hurting my people as a nation. I'm hurting my children because I'm allowing myself to be in a situation that's stagnating me to another level of economic growth in this, you know, in this life. Right. And I'm doing it for absolutely no reason but selfish feelings. But that's one other reason I think, like you were saying about the fit. Because, like I said, you know, some people, you know, they're used to a certain level of existence, they're not willing to live today. And you know what? That's the saddest part. That's the saddest part. I don't see. Something as a whole, you have to call before you walk. Right. You know, in order for the own land to be the master of my own kingdom, I'd rather sacrifice not having all the tissue in the house, all the soap, all all these things that I, don't need but won't prefer, other than the necessities. I'd rather give away all that stuff to have the bare necessity to be able to thrive. Right. That's likely for you to get a woman to want that with you. If she ain't got shit. Well, yeah, but that's why I say it's levels. I don't really, I see women who don't got stuff who still ain't with what you got on, because it's still a system. And the system give them a level of comfort. Shelters, you know what I'm saying? The assistance, just the things that you. Oh, they don't assist them. I mean, exactly. They don't have to. You know what I'm saying? It's like you said, you can cop up in the house. Ain't no water, hot water here. Because all you gotta have is water running. So you was using a lamp. Just imagine they had no power. I got this house. You know what I'm saying? I can put it in power. Ain't no electric up in here. Only thing you got is water. Ain't no heat up in here. That's how it was in the 50s. You know what I'm saying? But they had wood burners and wood stoves. Exactly. Exactly. So you're gonna have to rotate, operate like that. They work more. They weren't lazy. All that sleeping in beds all day. You know what I'm saying? Watching TV wasn't top off. Right. Because people didn't have lights in the 50s. Right. They lived with the candles and lanterns and fire stoves and wood stoves. They didn't stop them from being market cars. No, it's so good. As a matter of fact, it helped them become the people that they were. Exactly. Their environment was more conducive to growing on that level with a family. And it defined them more back then as a people. I think that we got a little too lazy in society by design. And a lot of us have become, we turn an eye or we just plain ignorant to what's going on in society. Right. And that's done by design. You understand? Because if I can keep chasing this dream of being this athlete, this great athlete, and being this great rapper, when I know the chances of you becoming this is very slim to none when you talk about how much level that you want to become. So therefore, I leave you with your dreams and I leave you with them hopes. And I try to shut down anything to wake you up. Right. The brother, what's the brother name that had that was building sovereign name, Egypt, and they shut him down. What was his name? Egypt. Well, he was building in Egypt in his. Oh, Dr. Malachi York. Yeah, Dr. Malachi.
Right.
And they shut him down.
Well, I'm not even talking about on the government level. I'm talking about more just infrastructure alone. It was easier to create infrastructure of woman, man, and your children. You know what I'm saying? Without the implications of domestic violence and just laws that exist now that didn't exist then. Back then, you was halfway a slave when you had a man back then.
Because they didn't use child support for European men.
Right.
Child support was directed and aimed and targeted for impoverished urban communities, Hispanics, and Black.
Like I say, we got a lot of rights now that just in that mindset, not having those rights is gonna force me. It's like being in prison. When you was in prison, you wrote 17 books.
Now I have the right.
But now that you free and got all this other stuff that you can do besides, you know what I'm saying, building on that level, you don't build on that.
I wrote 2 poems.
Right.
So,
Right.
It's a big difference. And that's why when he was telling me at one time, at one point, hey, I don't mind being incarcerated. I don't mind doing what I have to do. Because whenever I get through doing what I have to do, I'm going to be a better person for it.
Right.
Because you know how to manage your time. You know how to use your time to make an impact or effect on life in general. I think we're going to have conversations. I remember when I used to hear about sovereignty, and I really didn't understand it when I was in the joint. And I used to be like, man, that's crazy to live by itself and be nuts and be subjected to not really having protection of the law and all that. And see, all my thoughts were all wrong. You have protection from the Constitution from which you live in, and you have a Constitution from which your own constitutional law to protect you within your sovereign nation.
Right.
So really, you're protected by laws.
Right.
In both ways. Matter of fact, you're protected in more ways than the average citizen who's not of a sovereign state. Because that's what the Native Americans is. They got to be sovereign. They got their own casinos. They got their own grounds. They got their own police. They got all that. Right now. That's right. And they became a sovereign nation.
I also think that not voting is a form of slavery. When you negate yourself, when you make yourself a nothing, when you allow yourself to not be viewed as anything because you do not vote, that is a form of slavery, because when we were enslaved, we were nothing. So anybody who does not vote is nothing. I cannot express that strong to you. Okay? Drug use is self-medication. Not voting, you want to be a slave. You want to be counted as nothing. And this year, more than any other year, you've got to stand up, show up, or shut up.
I'm slave.
Thank you very much for coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just say, before I start, rambling here for a second, I give you props to the sister to my right, Ms. Ansett. She was with us during the days when we could review and open line when we took on the Essential Part 5 case. As a matter of fact, it's an interesting story. Ann was with me when late reporter Joe Bragg came back to the radio station and said, "You guys are not going to believe what I have." This is before the start of the first trial. He said, "I have an FBI lab report." And he showed us the FBI lab report, and it did not connect any of the 5 boys to the Jogger attack. There was no DNA on any of this stuff. We went on the air blasted that, right, Ms. Ann?
That's right.
Yes, we did. And believe it or not, it stopped the first trial. They had to postpone the starting date for the first trial, the Central Park Jogger case. Of course, the rest is history. But Ann was along for that ride as well. And props to the sister. One of the things, yeah, come on, clap, come on, yeah, come on. Let me just say this. The thing that I'm going to really talk about a lot is the community police relationship. It's gone to pot. Thank goodness Bill Bratton is out of here. All right, because he did not believe in community policing. When I was a kid growing up, we had that. We knew the names of the cops. Cops knew us, knew our family. They don't know you from a hole in the wall. I had family members of NYPD, my uncle Tommy, in Roxbury, Massachusetts. I have a cousin who's still working for the police department up there. And it's back then when they worked, and he still loved my cousin Rudy, but you had that relationship with the people. Not anymore. Cops don't know that both people know. We can help you solve crime. But yet, NYPD treats us all like we're the bad guy, bad girl. That's got to stop. We're going to talk about that today. Thank you.
All right, Cassandra, give us your thoughts.
So I'd have to disagree. I think when we're talking about drug policy, and we know that drug policy, so the laws associated with the drugs, are what I think has created a conversation around pollution from, about the conversation of what slavery has done. I'm not going to sit here and talk about how drugs can be the healthiest thing. Taking drugs is not like drinking water. However, the harms associated with drugs are far less than the harms associated with the laws connected to the drugs. And we know that to be true because the drug laws are not the same, are not enforced the same way in Black communities. And you know that because the opioid crisis does not look like the crack houses. They're not busting in people's houses. They're not incarcerating people. And when we talk about voting, we are missing a large group of people because we've incarcerated so many people and they no longer have the right to vote. So the conversation about what we talk about with the Black community is the way that the system has created mass criminalization. Everyone talks about incarceration, but there are people dealing with the very effects of incarceration that have never stepped a foot in jail or prison. Those people that have to be in a cut so they can get food stamps. Those are people that get searched before they get into schools. We have to have a real conversation about the way that the drug war and over-criminalization and over-policing have literally created a paradigm for a police state and militarization of people of color.
Thank you very much.
I should say back to Ann and Cassandra, that's what I mean about the drug situation being a new form of slavery. As a judge, I saw that over and over and over again, disparity. I have not yet seen it, but Ava DuVernay, the producer of Selma, has done 13 on Netflix, and that is the subject of the overmass incarceration of Black people, particularly Black men, and what that does, and we'll touch on today, is what that does not only for this generation of men who are incarcerated, but what are the implications for their generations to follow.
Yeah, and I just want to say we talk a lot about Black men, and that's very important. But in a room full of Black women, it's very important to realize that the conversation has to be broader. That's why I really focus on mass incarceration, because the face of that has to be Black men. But when you broaden the frame and talk about mass criminalization, all the systems that women are interacting with, there's a level of criminalization that happens, and Black women are one of the rate of Black women's incarceration is rising way faster than anyone's ever talked about. So we really need to broaden out the frame and add gender analysis to what we're talking about.
All right, Bishop Ferguson, let's hear your thoughts.
Well, first of all, it's amazing to me to sit here because two of the people who over the years have formed my thoughts and my work are sitting right here at the table and Trip Bob Slade. Because I listened to them on the radio while I was serving 9 years in New York State prison. So I didn't fall from heaven. I didn't come to become a bishop because I got saved one Sunday morning while the sun was shining brightly through the stained glass windows. I got saved on Rikers Island on February 11th, 1991, having served 1 year and 6 days of what became an 8-year and 8-month stay as a not so welcome guest to the New York State Department of Corrections. And the two issues that I think affect us most, that I think that I'm focusing my work on, are economics and education. Because while I was in prison, everybody was poor like me. Everybody came from the same neighborhoods that I came from. Folks who sat in visiting rooms looked like me. The men who were locked in A block in Sing Sing looked like me. And all the women who came to visit them looked like my mom, and looked like my wife. The babies that came there looked like my daughter. And the common denominator in all of that is we were black and we were poor. So economics is number one thing, because I believe that as we can march, and it's Reverend Sharp just said when I worked for him, he used to say marching doesn't solve it, and marching is to bring highlights to the problem so that we can begin to solve it. So yeah, we can continue to march, but at the same time, we have to understand that until we go in these folks' pockets, until they understand that as a nation of black people, we're going to use our multi-trillion-dollar power of spending that we have, that we engage in, because y'all do some shopping. Hey, come on now, black folks love to shop. But if we were to say that from November through December, from what the so-called Black Friday, all the way through Christmas, that we don't spend not one nickel above food, above transportation, above all the things that we just need to be able to go back and forth to work. I can tell you, I don't care who comes in office. It could be Trump, it could be Hillary, it could be Bernie, it could be yippee yappy yahooey. Whoever comes into office in January is going to say, what do they want? Because the big corporations will pressure them into doing something different. And the only way we do that is we have to be educated. We should educate ourselves informally by watching things like David's documentary 13. We need to educate ourselves by reading things like the new Jim Crow. We need to educate ourselves because what we're seeing today is a whole political campaign run by a horrible person, a horrible orange man. And orange is not the new black. That is saying to us today that if you are not educated, I will play on your fear. If you've never read a book, I will play on your fear. If you don't know, if you're not woke because you ain't never read nothing above 140 characters, above something that's on Facebook, I will play on your fear and I will get you to vote, because what we're seeing is the folk are moving in the other way.